Welcome to Rewatch and Rank. On this channel, we rewatch older TV shows, provide a summary and opinion on the episode before ranking each episode against each other. Today's episode is Bleach Soul Society, the Sneak Entry Arc, Episode 40, The Shinigami Whom Ganju Met. Episode in a nutshell is a brief reminder of what happened in the episode. So the episode begins where the last left off, with Ichigo falling and apologizing to everyone for failing. And then Kenpachi tells him that basically he didn't lose, he had actually won before he himself also falls over, which then prompts Yachiru, who is Kenpachi's lieutenant, to pick up Kenpachi after thanking Ichigo for giving Kenpachi a fun fight, and she then takes him away. They then, while they're sitting there, she basically takes him up to a roof. While they're sitting there, they flash back to how Kenpachi and her first met out in the boonies of Soul Society. They were in a lawless area. She was a baby, had no name, didn't know her parents. He also didn't really have a name and was a bit of a vagrant who was going around and fighting his way through life. He then meets her, gives her her name and his name, and that is how they have bonded and been together ever since. And he then picks up his Zanpakuto, mentioning how he had forgotten how painful it was to not have a name, and briefly considers potentially trying to find out the Zanpakuto's name before he then ends up passing out. We then have Ichigo, who is already still passed out, being picked up by Yoruichi, who takes him away to parts unknown, and then the remainder of the episode is Ganju and Hanataro arriving at Rukia's cell and managing to enter. Upon entering, when Ganju sees her, he flashes back to her covered in blood and accuses her of killing his brother, and she confirms that she is the one who killed his brother, which leads to Ganju not wanting to save her. However, Hanataro decides he still wants to, and this, of course, is when Byakuya arrives, and his spirit force is felt by them, but Hanataro decides he's going to try to face him, and Ganju, having been raised not to let his friends flounder, goes out and attempts to save Hanataro, also gearing up to face Byakuya, but that is when the episode ends. So now that we've been reminded about the episode, we'll now rank the episode. As always, we'll be ranking first on the mostly objective ranking list, which uses set values to determine the score, followed by the personal ranking list. So on the mostly objective rank values, we start with 2 points for the resolved battle, which was, of course, Kenpachi versus Ichigo, as the winner was officially declared in this episode, not the last one, so that's worth 2 points. We then get some multi-arc supporting character development, which is the flashback to Kenpachi and Yachiro's past and how they met each other, and that is worth 3 points. We then have a multi-arc supporting character growth, where Kenpachi comes to understand the importance of names, and that is also worth 3 points. And then we have some multi-arc supporting character introductions, some more prominently than others. So we have one of the captains who's been ill and wasn't at the initial meeting and hasn't really shown up before, which is Jushiro Yukitake. And then we have two Shinigami in his squad, reporting to him everything that has happened, and that was Sentaro Kotsubaki and Kione Kotetsu. And they're all worth 3 points. Followed by, last but not least, a positive 4 points for our multi-arc main character development, which is where we learn that Rukia, in her past, killed Ganju's brother, whom we have also heard her kind of talking to herself about, asking what to do. So obviously they had some sort of connection before she killed him, though that hasn't I don't believe I don't think that's been expanded on as of yet, but I'm sure it will be. So, anyways, with all of that being said and calculated, we are at 21 out of 10. Obviously, 10 being the highest score possible. So, this is a 10 out of 10 episode. And that brings us to the arc ranking so far for our mostly objective ranking list. And a brief reminder that when more than one episode has the same score, we rank in episode order. So that brings our list so far to, in first, Enter the World of the Shinigami, The Man Who Hates Shinigami, Assemble the Gotai 13, Formation the Worst Tag, The Resolution to Kill, The Shinigami Whom Ganju Met is this episode and it came in sixth, followed by Renji's Confrontation, The Star and the Stray Dog, Desperation, The Broken Zangetsu, Ninth is 14 days before Rukia's execution, Tragedy of Dawn, Aizen Assassinated, The Darkness Which Approaches, Penetrate the Center with an Enormous Bombshell, The Immortal Man, Orihime Targeted, Release the Death Blow, Break Through the Shinigami's Encompassing Net, 17th, Motive of the Fist, Kenpachi Zareki Approaches, and then Miracle, the Mysterious New Hero, is currently in 19th place. Sorry, not 19th, 20th place. Miracle, the Mysterious New Hero, is in 20th place. Now, for my personal ranking, while this episode did score highly on our mostly objective ranking, because it did hit a lot of storytelling elements, from a viewer perspective, I didn't find it super entertaining. Obviously, the fight really ended in the last episode, but it was only officially concluded at the start of this one. Then we've got people basically laying around. We got a few flashbacks and character development, and I do like the character development because Kenpachi is one of my favorites. So is Yachiro because she has the pink hair and such, but ultimately, they had a few flashbacks before he then passed out as well. We get the new captain being introduced, but it's so brief and we don't really know why he's important at this moment, other than he's getting a late recap of everything that we've already seen. And then, of course, Ganju and Rukia. There is a brief bit of interest in the fact that Rukia killed his brother, but then that's not expanded on, so we're left to wait for that. And ultimately, he, flies off the handle. I don't really like Ganju as a character very much anyways. And it just kind of then confrontation with Byakuya. There wasn't a lot that happened. A lot of it was sort of setting up and planting seeds for future information or just developing characters in the case of Kenpachi. But it just, as I was watching, it did not feel very engaging. In fact, the episode seemed to drag. It was only like 20 minutes, but it felt so much longer. And of course, our main character wasn't in it very long, except at the brief bit in the beginning. And even Rukia's there like, oh, I don't know why anyone would fight to save me. And then, Ganju arrives, accuses her of killing his brother, and she's like, yeah, that's what I did. So I'm not going to fight it if you want to kill me. And it's like, dude, these people are there, risking their lives, getting injured horrifically, all to save you, and you're not even grateful about it, and you don't even want it, and you're not even appreciative of that fact. You're just standing there like, I don't know why they'd bother. Kind of rubs me the wrong way just a little bit. But obviously once, she gets saved, she'll be saved. But yeah, I wasn't overly fond of this episode. While I acknowledge the importance of it because it is, again, planting seeds, not overly fond. So that's why I just gave it a 4 out of 10. And that brings the personal ranking so far to in first, The Immortal Man, The Resolution to Kill, Enter the World of the Shinigami, Desperation, The Broken Zangetsu, Kenpachi Zareki Approaches, Miracle, The Mysterious New Hero, Formation, The Worst Tag, Penetrate the Center with an Enormous Bombshell, Ninth, Renji's Confrontation, The Star and the Stray Dog, Assemble the Gotai 13, 14 days before Rukia's execution, Release the Death Blow, Break Through the Shinigami's Encompassing Net, The Shinigami Whom Ganju Met. This episode came in 15th, followed by Tragedy of Dawn, Then 17th, The Man Who Hates Shinigami. Aizen assassinated, the darkness which approaches. Motive of the fist, and currently in last place is Orihime Targeted. Bringing us now to the final segment of our series ranking so far. And in first, well, only the only arc that's been completed so far is Agent of the Shinigami arc at 84%, and Soul Society, the sneak entry arc, currently has a score of 148 out of 210. Meanwhile, on the personal ranking, the Agent of the Shinigami arc was still first place, 63%, and Soul Society, the sneak entry arc, is currently at 117 out of a possible 210. So with that, we've now rewatched and ranked Bleach Soul Society, the sneak entry arc, episode 40, The Shinigami Whom Ganju Met. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you in the next episode.